Hello ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, innies, outies and in-betweeners. My name's Dan and welcome back to another PAP Reports. Today is April the 1st, 2020, April Fool's Day, and although I'll not be playing any practical jokes on you, we have plenty of jokers to discuss, just like every other day. First, we're starting with an update to a previous report about Greater Manchester Police's Head of Communications, Amanda Coleman, whose almost year-long professional standards investigation ended last week. An investigation that the force is unwilling to disclose the reason for, and what I feel is a planned move by Coleman and Greater Manchester Police in what seems to me like a deal between the two. Bearing in mind that Coleman only got a written warning, not a final written warning, but just a written warning. It turns out that she has now resigned from her £72,000 a year role after more than 18 years. Early last year, she'd been placed on restricted duties after the force confirmed concerns had been raised regarding a member of police staff. An investigation by Greater Manchester Police's Professional Standards Department, which started in early 2019 and lasted almost a year, resulted in a misconduct meeting where the allegations were found to be proven and she was written up with a warning. Greater Manchester Police confirmed that she had resigned in the same week as the misconduct hearing after being off work ill for most of last year. No doubt still getting paid a hefty wage while skiving off. Now call me sceptical, but it seems to me that whatever she did was bad enough for a gross misconduct hearing, which would have resulted in dismissal. Now that would have been a blot on her record and on Greater Manchester Police's. After 18 years in the job, she's likely made some friends in high places, so it kind of makes sense to me that a deal was struck to mutually protect Coleman's reputation in exchange for protecting the force's reputation. That way, the details of the incident never come out, Greater Manchester Police and Coleman can part company, and no one is none the wiser. I mean, what do you think? Would you leave a £72,000 a year job after just a written warning? Let me know in the comments. A former police constable from Lincolnshire Police will be taking part in a virtual special case misconduct hearing over failing to tax his personal vehicle to avoid payment before denying it to a supervisor. Before I continue here, let me just say, what the fuck? Special case misconduct hearings are for when specific criteria is met. Criteria I won't be going into in this video due to time constraints, but needless to say, these would be cases of a serious nature that need dealing with promptly. But yet, former PC Kool Norman is up for not taxing his car and telling his supervisor that he did. Not exactly crime of the century by any stretch of the imagination, however he should at least be held to the same standard as the public. So this does seem to me to be a little extreme, but hey ho, plod breaks the rules, plod pays the price, and that's something I can always get behind. The hearing will be held virtually by video audio conference on April the 3rd due to the government guidelines regarding essential travel and social distancing. It was alleged that Norman breached professional behaviour, specifically honesty and integrity, and discreditable conduct. Norman is accused of driving a vehicle on a public road in June 2019, which he knew not to be taxed. It is alleged that he had not taxed his vehicle in a deliberate attempt to avoid payment for a further 4 months' roads tax. He is said to have then informed another constable that he had driven his vehicle to work without tax on the 30th of June last year, and when questioned about it by his supervisor, he denied it. Grassed up, brilliant, love it. Well done to the constable who did the right thing and reported the offence committed by a fellow constable. The next report is a little unclear. The information reported through multiple outlets is a little conflicting as to the fine amount, but on the 28th of March it has been said that police at Newcastle Central Station received a report from rail staff of a woman loitering between platforms. They approached 41-year-old Marie Dinu, who at Newcastle Central Station, and engaged with her in an attempt to understand her reasons for essential travel, but following several more attempts by officers to explain and encourage, she refused to speak to them, which is an unalienable right. But British Transport Police said in a statement, having explored all options, Dinu was arrested on suspicion of travel fraud and breaching the restrictions imposed under the new Coronavirus Act 2020. That's right folks, British Transport Police abusing the coronavirus legislation less than 48 hours after it was introduced. Mainstream media reports that under the new law, police can issue £60 on the spot fines to anyone leaving their home without reasonable excuse if they refuse a request to go home, which makes it an order, not a request. Reasonable excuses include shopping for basic needs, exercising, and absolutely necessary travel to and from work. But suspects can also be arrested and charged with breaking the new laws brought in last month in the wake of the pandemic. If convicted in court, they face unlimited fines. Now, although I'm still to go through the full legislation, there's a lot of it, I do believe that there is nothing in the new coronavirus legislations that says you have to engage with the police if they simply want to chat. And I'm pretty sure the new legislation doesn't revoke our human rights and personal right to not be forced into conversation with people. I also don't believe that by not engaging with someone you can be found guilty of breaching rules. I'm not for a moment suggesting that everyone should go out. I do agree that social distancing rules, and to be fair, it's actually nice and quiet with most people spending more time at home, but this seems like a complete abuse to me. British Transport Police's Assistant Chief Constable Sean O'Callaghan said, while a ticket offence had also been committed in this case, enforcement of any sort under the new regulations really is a last resort, especially arrest, except when our feelings are hurt because somebody failed to bow to our authority. In this case, officers tried their utmost best to engage with Dinu. I can assure you we would much rather not have taken such action. Of course not. That's why you still went ahead and arrested her for not engaging with you. We strongly urge the public to do the right thing and help us save lives by staying at home and slowing the spread of the virus. Well, we strongly urge you to do the right thing. Do your best to save lives by staying at home and slowing the spread of the virus by not trying to engage with people who are doing nothing wrong. Police yet again acting on their own interpretation of the rules and their own interpretation of events simply because someone's using their right to not engage with them when they don't have to. The woman was fined £660 for allegedly breaching the Health Protection Coronavirus Restrictions Regulations 2020. She was also ordered to pay a victim surcharge of £66, although who the hell is the victim here? And costs of £85, totalling more than £800. Simply because the police decided to believe she was breaching the rules just because she stood her ground and refused to interact with them, which is her right. Also, shame on the judge in this case. Out of all the people you would expect a judge to understand the importance of having the right to not have to speak to anyone. After all, the law puts the onus on the police to prove your guilt and not you to prove your innocence. But then maybe that's why this went to magistrates court, the revenue court, where they frighten you into accepting a ruling and pleading guilty even if you're not, by suggesting that if you don't, you'll go to Crown Court and tell you that you could face higher penalties and imprisonment. However, what they never tell you is that you could be found guilty, walk free, and then be able to sue the police for false arrest. I wonder why they always leave that bit out. Now, although there are plenty of reports about people being arrested and fined for spitting and coughing in the faces of police, NHS staff, shop workers, for example, those are the things that I won't be reporting on here, simply because those people do need dealing with and arresting for those actions. Maybe not arresting, but dealing with. In my opinion, most of the time that's proportionate, providing there are other rights are not infringed on, and if they are, then I will report those incidents. As I've said many times, I don't hate the police, I hate the police force, and the individuals within who think it's appropriate to abuse the public with their powers and arresting people for assault, as in spitting, which is clearly disgusting, and in the current situation, coughing purposely in people's faces, needs to be dealt with proportionately. Think about how you would feel if you slept with someone and the following morning they laughed at you and told you they had AIDS. I mean, that's an extreme example, but to me that's akin to coughing in someone's face and telling them you have a virus that can be caught by someone coughing in your face. Big thank you to Patreon supporters Motty Lad, Holly, Adi, Dave, Ian, Copwatch UK, Dean, Jay and Carl. Your support is helping me to continue providing this essential daily content, especially as almost all reports contain content that's deemed unsuitable for most advertisers. Anyway, that is all I have for you today. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, as I know many of you will. Until next time, stay safe, look after each other, film the police and other officials.
Good night, all.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you like the content and you'd like to help support the channel, you can do so. In the description of every video there are some links to ways that you're able to help support the channel so I can continue putting out content. If you're unable to help us in that way, hit that subscribe button up the top there. If you haven't already, become a subscriber. That is support enough. Share the videos, comment, like, it all helps. If you're looking for something else to watch, up top there is my latest video. Down the bottom there is a video that YouTube recommends for you.